Hope my internet's great. I think it is. I think it's good. Good afternoon, cricket fans, and welcome to Sock TV and the Spot On Hose and Fittings Clubhouse on this amazing Thursday afternoon. To all of our loyal viewers tuning in for edition number 118, live, can you believe it, from Sri Lanka. Yes, I'm actually sitting in the business area of the Cinnamon Grand Hotel in Colombo, and I'm your host, Anthony Telfer, and it's an absolute pleasure to share another exciting episode where cricket is more than a game, it's a way of life. So before we dive in, don't forget to like, share and comment to keep the conversation alive and vibrant. Now, the clubhouse isn't just about cricket. It's a space where we celebrate the game, relive the highlights and share stories with teammates and opponents and umpires over a cold beer or a softie. And we've definitely done this over the last 12 days here in Sri Lanka. So whether you're a grassroots cricketer or an international star, there's something here for everyone. And this podcast is brought to you by Spot On Hose and Fittings, specialists in hydraulic hose and fittings for the mining, manufacturing, agricultural, industrial and construction industries. So make sure you tell Jeff and Ben Charlesworth that both Telf, oh God, there's a fine, Telf and Walshy sent you. But as always, I'm joined tonight by great mate and Aussie broadcasting legend, Peter Walsh. Walshy, it's great to be back and it's great to see your beautiful face and hear your lovely dulcet tones.
Hello, Telfie. How you going over there, my boy? No. Is that a Sri Lankan expression? Is it Telfie, is it?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to cop a load of crap over this one because we had an ongoing, no, I'm not going to say conversation or anything, but yes, a few of them were calling me Telfie and I was getting a little bit frustrated. And there you go. Okay. It's stuck in my head now.
No, that's all right. Well, all I'll say is, and firstly, thank you for the introduction. It's the world we live in now is quite amazing because you're just explained to me about what it's like in Sri Lanka, and I've just come from watering my tomatoes where the temperature was 40 degrees earlier today, and that's in downtown Bendigo or Bendigo, whichever way you want to pronounce it. And I've got to say that the interest in the way in which the Australians are performing in the World Cup, or whatever you like to call it, the International Masters Cricket Championship, it's been so good getting all the reports that you've been able to punch through and getting some indication as to how the players are really reveling in their going. That the start's been extraordinarily good. Let's hope that the finish will be good too. But it's the memories. And, you know, the only thing that I can honestly hope is that they take a lot of happy snaps and they've got a diary and they write down all the good things that have happened, because I love diaries, as you know, and I love looking back on diaries and seeing what you did on a certain day. And this is the 13th day of February. What did you do? Write it down, and we're going to share our thoughts tonight. And it's always good to see you, mate, and to listen out for your dulcet tones and to see you perambulating around all the cricket grounds that you've found with your pieces to camera. And I'm thinking of Tony Greig when I see you, and I used to have a lot of time for Tony Greig because he used to do all those pitch reports. So, hello, Tony. It's not Tony listening upstairs now, but you're doing a wonderful job, and so keep it all up.
Look, and thank you so much for those kind words, Walsh. I hope you can hear me because I'm getting a very big delay with our video here, so I'm not sure if you're catching me now. Give me a big yes if you can. You still hear me?
I can hear you, but it's a struggle.
Yeah. I'm hoping this internet connection's going okay. I did do a speed test here, so let's power on and hopefully we can make this work tonight. It's been an amazing 12 days. We've had 20 tourists here in Sri Lanka, and we played 5 games of cricket. We've been on some amazing tourist excursions here in Sri Lanka, but 5 games of cricket. I think we won, actually it was 6 games. I think we won 3 and lost 3. I think, or was it we lost 4 and won 2? I don't know. It's a bit of a blur, but we got to play the Sri Lankan police. We played the Sri Lankan army on the last day at Paragoda. which was an amazing stadium that we played at with inside the barracks. We played the Ambalongoda over 50s. We played the Colombo Masters, who we beat. And we also played the Lankan Cavaliers out at Aaron's Park, which was quite a remote area. And it was the day the power went down in Sri Lanka. A monkey apparently got caught in one of the power supplies. So we've had it all here in Sri Lanka. We've had some amazing experiences, and I tell you what, if you're ever in Sri Lanka, Walsh, it's definitely a country where you get accepted by so many people.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point you make, because I know when the Australians go to India, and to a lesser extent, they haven't been to Pakistan very often or very recent, but Indian people absolutely idolise the arrival of Australians. Now, talk to us and talk to the many people who'll be watching our program. What was it like for the Australians when they turn up and they put their uniforms on and they perambulate around and they look all good and they're ready to play, and the locals see them, and the locals are then welcoming the Australian team, the one you're looking after? I've got another Australian team that was here at the same time, obviously. But were you being feted by the locals? Were they looking for autographs, looking for happy snaps? Were they wanting to talk? Were they wanting just to be involved and to be seen?
Well, look, if we talk firstly about the Spirit of Cricket touring team before we get to the Australian team, because I haven't actually spent a lot of time with the Aussie over 50s team yet, because my focus has been with the Spirit of Cricket team. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many photos I've had taken of people that we played against with selfies at the police. They wanted photos of us in our Spirit of Cricket shirt. Lots of kids have been coming up, wanting to get photos, and they just love their cricket out here. It was funny. One of the days when we did a tour of the Galle Fort, there was a game of cricket going on just as you walk inside the Galle Fort through the tunnel to the left-hand side, and there would have been, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 guys playing with a tennis ball on a dirt pitch, and one of our guys jumped out and had a bowl, and Jeff Stowe had a delivery, his first delivery inside the Galle Fort, and he got a wicket first ball. It was caught by Mark Kratzman, but they just engage with you and they allow you to join in. We actually found out that game that we thought was a game was just practice, because we came back a couple of days later and the same guys were all dressed in their uniforms and they were actually playing a game. And once again, just embracing this great game of cricket here in Sri Lanka. And we've seen so many games in the streets, in the fields, inside our hotels. There's been games going on. It's everywhere we go, they're playing cricket.
The Australian players that have obviously their responsibilities for training and getting together and doing all that sort of stuff, have they been able to break away from that from time to time and be a part of the Sri Lankan community and a part of the way in which the Sri Lankans live their lives?
Yeah, oh, definitely, Walshy. Where we're staying here at the Cinnamon Grand in Colombo, believe it or not, we've got the Australian men's team and the Sri Lankan men's team that are playing in the test matches, and also the ODIs. They're staying with us. And every morning we go down for breakfast. Every evening we have a meal. The Australians, the Sri Lankans are there, one table away from us, and obviously being asked for photos and autographs and things like that. And they're most obliging. But they have days off. So today's a day off, obviously, for the Aussies. And they'd been out. They may have gone out for a game of golf today, and they would have definitely had a training session as well, and probably a gym and a swim as well, because it is quite hot over here. Today's probably the coolest day that we've been while we've been here, but the temperatures are anywhere between 33 and probably 36 degrees. I would say it's probably very low 30s here today, with a breeze blowing in off the Indian Ocean, but the humidity is the killer. It's 80 to 90% humidity, and it just zaps you. When we first arrived, we had a net session, and we only had a hit for about maybe 10 minutes, and I didn't do any running, and I was exhausted probably after 3 or 4 minutes just by just standing there and
Yes.
hitting the
Yes.
balls. The guys were exhausted bowling, and but the locals, they're used to it. So
Mm.
they're super fit and running around, hardly perspiring. Us Aussies, we're just wringing wet by the end of it,
Mm.
and we got to go to the ODI yesterday, and the Aussies, when they were in the field, a lot of them had towels over their head trying to cool
Mm.
their head down, and ice packs on their shoulders. It really is quite zapping for them.
Mm. When you think about what you're not putting up with, don't get me wrong, but do you think this is as close as you, and I'm talking about Anthony Telfer here, not other members of the group, got to the Australian test team? You're virtually in the same hotel, you're having a meal with them. And for me, this is another indication as to the spirit of cricket is becoming known by more and more people who are asking more and more questions. And that's got to be good for business. That has to be a big thrill for you, because you, as the leader, you wander around and you want to talk to people about what we're trying to do all the time. And the message is being received.
Definitely is, Walshy. These bright yellow shirts that we're wearing everywhere around Sri Lanka, we make a huge impact. In fact, the day at Gaul, we were there for day two of the Test match in Gaul, when Steve Smith and also Alex Carey both got
Oh,
hundreds.
yes, yes.
We were out on the hill for the last session when they both successfully reached their centuries,
Mm.
and we had our Spirit of Cricket touring flag with us, and we were up
Mm.
there displaying it, and we made international news with our flag and our bright yellow shirts. But so that was a pretty special day for us all. But even when we walk around the hotel here in Colombo, one of the guys bumped into Alex Carey and was having a chat and grabbed a couple of shots with his kids who he brought on tour. And Alex Carey was aware of the spirit of cricket. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
we are definitely making an impact. We're reaching every corner of the world. We've got nearly 7,000 followers on Facebook, and it's having a huge impact here. Well, not just here in Sri Lanka, but around the world.
You did mention too that you had a group of about 20 odd that went over there and had a look, etc., and they have since returned to Australia. Did you get
And
much feedback?
America, and
And America, of
America.
course.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
of
yeah. We had
course.
two from the US of A.
Yes. Did you get much of a reaction from them as to how they looked at and savoured the flavour of what was taking place in Sri Lanka, and whether their highlights were of the cricket nature or maybe just as Tommy and Tom ate the tourists?
Yeah, no. Look, as far as highlights of the tour, for them, it was a combination of both. We got to see turtles and crocodiles and elephants and leopards, and we also, while we were down south, got to see the impact that the tsunami had here in that region when it hit Boxing Day of 2004.
Mm,
And
mm,
it was quite devastating to think that, upwards of 35,000 people lost their lives, and complete cities were wiped out. The stadium at Gaul was non-existent, so they rebuilt that stadium.
mm,
Um, but the cricket that they played, the guys from the USA, they love playing with the Aussies because we play our cricket differently compared to what they're used to in the USA, and so they get some key takeaways, running between wickets, fielding, playing on different pitch conditions, um, discovering the competitiveness of the Aussie cricketer.
mm.
And they learnt so much from it. So, they're already lined up and want to go on our next tour, which could be to any part of the world. We could go back to New Zealand. We could even head into South Africa, into Cape Town next year.
It's interesting too when I think of the amount of people and the amount of time we've got to gather together some of those people that have sat behind a microphone and have talked about their stories. And I was really thrilled that Luke Sparrow was over there waving his flag. And I also saw, and you would have been, I think, responsible for getting a particular person over there to put a Hawthorn jumper on, which was good. But this is the flavour of being able to see something that you're producing back in Sri Lanka, back to Australia, and to think with the pride that you must have about people having a look and thinking, hang on, who's that bloke? Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, that flag there, is that the spirit of? And they talk about it and they pass it on. And you're encouraging people to say, hey, if you like what you're seeing, move it on to the next person, move it on to the next person. And that's what's happening. And
It's
it's
fun.
all grist for the bill.
It's funny you should say that, Walshy, but yeah, Luke Sparrow was here waving his flag. But the gentleman, and I'm just having a quick look here, I actually met him because obviously, being a Hawthorn supporter
Mm.
myself, I had to find the guy. But he's a business partner of Luke Sparrow's.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, so I can't remember what his name was. I'm just having a quick look now to see if I can find it, but it was either Gov or Glove or something. I can't
Mm.
remember. God damn it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think it was Glove.
Well, what
No,
I've done is I've flicked a
no.
message through to Luke Sparrow and I've said we'll make
Oh,
contact with him down the track and we'll get him on to have a continuation of the chat of his life following the Australian cricket team around and the reward for being over 200 tests when Steve Waugh presented him with a presentation of some memorabilia. So, yeah, they're out there. And if they want to
yep,
talk, well, we'll get
yep.
them to
So
talk.
So I was right. It was Glove.
All right.
Glove was the guy wearing the Hawthorn jumper, and he had a phone call from the CEO of the Hawks, thanking him for taking the Hawthorn football jumper to Sri Lanka. So
All right.
it's definitely it's a small world, and it has a huge impact overseas. But yeah, look, we've had some amazing experiences. Obviously, we saw the captain of Sri Lanka yesterday when we went to watch the ODI between Australia and Sri Lanka,
Mm,
tear Australia apart after they were, in
mm,
diabolical trouble at 5 for 50 odd, and Asalanka, sorry,
mm.
it just destroyed our bowling attack and made us look second rate the way he just manipulated the strike every over. The guy at the other end, I don't know whether he actually scored. He might have scored a run, but I think it was a 70 or 80 run partnership, and he contributed less than five. So yeah, it was a great day. It was a day of celebration here. It was a full moon, so they have a full moon celebration every day, and there's no alcohol, so the ground was alcohol free. So we sat there in the stands drinking water and Coke and for the entire day, which wasn't a bad thing. So, but we're back there tomorrow, Walshy. We hopefully we can get the Australians across the line. But talking to the Aussie boys, they're using this Sri Lankan tour as basically preparation and like a practice games for the Champions Trophy, which is obviously in the UAE and also Pakistan next week. I believe it starts.
Mm, mm. Now, a couple of questions now, very short and sharp, with the answers that need to be too, because you won't get a lot of time, because I'll make sure that I cut you off. No, I won't. Tell me, what's been your favourite meal since you've been over there?
That's a fantastic question, Walshy. Probably all of them, although some of the hot curries are they leave you not wanting more. I must admit, look, I was sick for a couple of days. I did sleep for 14 hours when we were right down south in Shangri-La, and some of
Mm,
the tourists got that bug that goes straight through you. Look, we went to the Ministry of Crab one night, which is owned by Sangakkara and Joe Wardner, and we had chili crab. So we had a 1 kilo chili crab that was pretty special.
mm.
Actually, no, it was a pepper. It was a pepper crab, and that was fantastic. So I'd have to say the crab at the Ministry of Crab, which is rated in the top 20 restaurants in Asia. So that was a great experience for us as well.
Oh,
Now,
you're
just
leaving me.
quickly,
Mm-hmm,
I'm going to cut you off because
mm-hmm,
people are probably expecting to see Steve Mason, Tony Kellnon. They will be joining us in about 10 minutes. They've
mm-hmm.
been out. It is their rest day, so they've been doing a bit of recovery work this morning. So they are coming. So if you're joining in and thinking, where the hell are they? They are on their way, and they'll be with us in about 10 minutes. So um, yeah, it's going to be
Okay.
a good good to catch up with the Aussie guys after them winning their first 3 games in the World Cup.
Now, tell me, when we have the Indians out here, of course, that they're so articulate and they speak brilliantly and they speak all sorts of languages, but they seem to be able to get the English message across very well. What about interacting verbally in conversations with the Sri Lankans, not just the players and the officials, but those that live there in places like Auckland and Colombo? Was it difficult in any way at all to understand, or did they speak good English, or what?
Yeah, look, they speak very good English. They do understand English. At times, you can get different dialects as you sort of go further south, I think. But they all 90% of them do understand English and they can speak English. So there isn't really a language problem here in Sri Lanka at all. So from that point of view, if you're ever coming to Sri Lanka, and look, highly recommend this country. In fact, we're coming back here to launch our Spirit of Cricket T20 Global Championships, World Championships, right here in Sri Lanka in June. So I'm coming back again. I've fallen in love with the country, the people, the food, and also the cricket. We played the Sri Lankan Army on our last game 2 days ago, and it was an amazing venue. The pitch, believe it or not, it was fully grassed. It was the best wicket we saw. They hadn't used this square all season because they were preparing it for their inter-regiment tournaments, and it was a typical Australian wicket with a full covering of grass, lots of bounce. Still took a lot of spin because of the clay here is quite a different type of soil, and the Aussies will talk about that when we get them on. But it's that they said to us that the team that we brought was the most competitive over 50s team that they'd ever played against, and they want to do it as an annual tournament. Believe it or not, they want us to come back and play them again because they really appreciated our competition. And the way we played the game. Obviously, we play hard and fair, but just the way we played. We had 40 over game, and they made 260 odd, and we were probably all out for 240. So we lost by 20 odd runs. So, but it played in great spirit. And then we had presentations afterwards, and we presented shirts and caps to the players, and we even presented the match ball to the captain of the Sri Lankan team, who was Colonel Lasith. I can't remember his surname, but fantastic guy, and they had some great cricketers. Bolshi, it was so good.
Fantastic. Now, we've talked about the players, and of course, we're going to hear from the maestro, Stephen Mace, a little later on in our journey tonight. But I'd love you to give us your thoughts on someone who has become recognised now as a real key player in this squad, and he's an umpire, and that's Chiller. And we were also thrilled at the end of the Mildura extravaganza when he spoke, and he spoke with so much passion, and you saw even in the tears, and I'm not trying to embarrass him at all, but he's a very genuine man. And for him to be given the chance to go and be an officiator or an official for Australia over there was wonderful. And I kept reading a lot of social media stuff. Is he there yet? Is he there yet?
I did.
Is he there yet? Now tell me, what's it been like for him? You know him very well. Have you got the chance to be able to see how he's settled?
Yeah, look, he arrived probably about 3 or 4 days ago. And he went via the Maldives with his partner. So that was a good resting opportunity for him because he has been working quite hard with the Spot On Hose and Fittings organisation over the last 2 or 3 years. And that was really his first holiday. So he spent a week there, and then he arrived here in Sri Lanka, and he did his first game in the World Cup. I think that was between Wales and it may have been Wales and India, maybe, I think. Anyway, so he umpired that game, and then the very next day he came out and umpired our game at the Panagoda Stadium against the Army. So we smuggled him in. No, we didn't. We actually had to get passport approvals onto the barracks at the Army barracks at Harana. and he umpired there, and he brought his spot on T20 umpire shirts. Remember the black ones that the
Yes,
umpires wore in
yes,
Mildura?
yes.
He brought two of those, so he wore one, and he exchanged the other shirt to the other umpire, who was a local Sri Lankan umpire, and they did an amazing job. And then the very next day, he was back out umpiring again, and he's umpiring again today. So I'm catching up for dinner with him, and obviously a few drinks tonight. But he's amazed at the traffic over here. It's crazy.
Mm,
Tuk-tuks, cars, motorbikes. The 5 or 6, on the motorbike with two kids and no
mm,
helmets. And we've only seen one accident on the whole tour, and that was where a tuk-tuk had collided with a bus and gone underneath the bus. But other than
mm,
that, we haven't seen one accident, and it's like there's a third sense while they're driving around. It's as an Aussie, it's quite an experience, and quite scary at times. But yeah, Chilla's having a good time. He's staying down at the Cinnamon Lakeside, and we'll catch up with him for dinner tonight. So looking forward to doing that and seeing how he's going. I think he's got 5 or 6 games over here as part of the World Cup. So he's going to umpire with Asoka De Silva, the former international
oh,
Sri
nice.
Lankan
Yeah.
player,
Mm,
who now heads up the Sri Lankan Umpires Association over here. So that'll be another bucket list item for himself.
mm. Everybody who has some sort of involvement seems to be enjoying it. I wonder, what about the media? What about the coverage away from the ground itself? We're fortunate to have yourself with the interviews that you've got organised regularly and the scores that we get and your pitch reports and those sorts of things, which are really important because we feel like we need to know what's going on and we're achieving that. What about locally? Do they have any scribblers there at the ground? Do they have television coverage? Do they have news coverage at all? What's it like, and how much do you have to try and push to get the message across through the media?
Yeah, look, now I'm going to let Macy and Tony come in, but we'll talk
Okay.
about the media as they come in, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll just keep chatting and they can just sit there and wait for a moment. They can probably hear us now. We'll just keep talking about the media. Every game of the World Cup, Walshy, is live streamed, and
Right.
you can catch the live stream links at the over 50s Veterans Cricket page, and also on the Spirit of Cricket Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
We can't see you, Macy, so if you can turn the camera on, hopefully you can hear us. There we go. Yeah, that's a lot better. Can you turn it sideways
Probably.
so we can? Yep, that'll be
How's
good.
that?
It should. Yeah, it should rotate, but it's not going to, is it?
Rotating a mouse screen, but no good.
No, that's not going to work. So we'll have to go back the other way unless you can work it out. But that's yeah. So look, that'll have to do. We can't quite see Tony, so you might have to get up close and personal. Yeah, that's better. Anyway, Walshy, why don't we welcome our two guests into the
Mm-hmm.
clubhouse? We've been chatting, boys. So Steve Mason, Tony Kellnan, welcome to the clubhouse. It's great to have you guys here. But we've been chatting about all things Sri Lanka for the last half hour, about the Spirit of Cricket tour that we've undertaken over the last 12 days. But you guys have been here probably for nearly a week now, I would say, since the welcoming ceremony. You've played a couple of practice matches and also played 3 games as part of the World Cup. First impressions of Sri Lanka?
Hey, Sri Lanka, great spot. Yeah, people are great over here, really welcoming, and the country's great. It's good. The cricket's been good. The wickets, the facilities, everybody's trying to help wherever they can. They're always very welcoming. So, yeah, I think everybody's having a great time, and I guess winning the first 3 games of the World Cup is obviously a big part of that. That sort of always makes it a little bit better. That's what we're here to do. We're here to win, and we've won our first 3. A fantastic win yesterday, which was great. Sharpie's got us home there with a fantastic dig. So, yeah, things are going good at the moment. We've just got to keep the momentum going into the back end of the tournament, and hopefully we can get to the semis and the finals and bring home the World Cup. Will be a great thing.
Yeah, wonderful stuff. Now, Macy, it's been a big contrast. Now, you went to South Africa with the World Cup. The start that you've had here in Sri Lanka, compared to where you were at the current stage in Cape Town. The boys must be pretty stoked with the start that you guys have had.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, South Africa. I mean, we had a lot of new guys in there, 7 or 8 new caps, and we lost a couple of close ones in the first 3 games in South. We've won 2 close ones here, so that's the difference, I guess. It's not luck; you make your own luck, and we've had good quality players there. They're doing that and doing their jobs, and we've been a little bit better prepared this time around. We've had a lot of build up to this World Cup over the last 12 months, so that's probably the difference. So that matters in those really tight games, and we've been good enough to get over the line in those couple of games, which is absolutely really crucial. And that fantastic win yesterday really gave us a good leg up and a good bit of momentum coming into the next week. So, yeah, it's been really good. We're all feeling pretty confident, and everybody's fit. So, hopefully, we can all stay that way.
Exactly right. And Tony, first World Cup. First of all, congratulations on getting your baggy green. Have you had a game yet? I haven't followed it closely, but congratulations on obviously making the Australian squad. Tell us what that experience has been like for you.
Thanks, Telf. No, it's been a great time. We've actually been here for close to 2 weeks. Most of us turned up like Saturday or Sunday a week ago. So it's been 10 or 12 days, and I sort of only came in knowing the Victorian guys, but everyone's been really welcoming. And, so over the 10, 12 days, we've really bonded as a group. I played a practice game against New Zealand, and I played yesterday against South Africa in probably the toughest conditions that we've probably had as a team. So just same level of heat, but the humidity was next level. So, yeah, I kept yesterday. Fuzz needed a break. It's not where you can play 7 or 8 games in a row. It's just so debilitating. So like Macy had scored a ton, and then then had a rest just to take care of everyone. And that's the beauty of having a squad of 17, where we've got a lot of interchangeable players. So it's been a great experience for me so far. I'm sort of very new to the group, like Ash Hardy in a way. So everyone else really knows each other. So it's been really good to get to know all the guys.
Yeah, wonderful stuff. And last question for you, Tony, before I throw to Walshy, because he's desperately sitting there wanting to ask you guys some tough questions. But Tony, the baggy green and the presentation, we saw photos of that. That must have been bucket list stuff to receive that baggy green, mate.
It's funny because I sort of I was a bit not blasé about it, but sort of a bit just trying to act cool and that, and then they tricked us and got our families up on the screen, and it was quite emotional for me. It's tough when you're away for over 2 weeks now or whatever it is, and you're away for 3.5, 4 weeks, and some of the guys have had family here, and some of them got them coming in, but it's just tough. You miss your family, but so I was a bit emotional about it, but it was certainly I thought I was a bit cooler than that, but I wasn't. And it was a bit, you did get a shiver up your spine. So it was, quite a surreal moment.
Wonderful stuff, and I'm glad the Aussies continue that tradition of stitching up the new baggy greens. I've been a part of some of those presentations, and they bring goosebumps to me, and I'm not even part of the team when I've been a part of some of those. So if you can pass on my congratulations to the management for continuing to stitch up the newbies, I guess. But congratulations to you on being a part of this World Cup team. Walshy?
To Stephen and also to Tony, it's a thrill for me to be able to have a chat to you. I'll save one for you, Tony, but I'll start with Steve. Steve, can you tell me, when you get dressed to go out and the conditions are going to be pretty horrendous because of sweat, because it's hot, you might want to have a drink, but if you drink too much, you've got to think to yourself, what do I do now? I might feel like I need a break because I'm drinking a lot. What's the hardest thing to come to terms with when the conditions are so oppressive?
Yeah, it's hard. The humidity is the thing that gets you. That's the thing. You just got to hydrate. I mean, it's really important the night before to hydrate well. We've been doing that. We've done a lot of homework on that. So we're pumping a lot of liquids into us the day before, the morning of the game, and during the game. So but I've never needed a break to go off to the toilet, mate, to be honest.
Well, that's good. Well, tell me, what do you drink? Is there anything other than water? And I'm being careful about this too. In some of the countries that you go, you've got to be very careful about drinking water. Is this the case in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, definitely. We're drinking bottled water, only bottled water. I mean, some of the water at the hotel is filtered, but I certainly wouldn't take a chance with that. But it's all bottled water, so we're filling up our drink bottles with bottled water and hydrolytes. So that's important just to get something back into us. So yeah, we're very careful around that sort of stuff. Limit the alcohol and keep the hydrolytes and water up to. That's really, really important because you can deteriorate fairly quickly in that sort of humidity. It's hard, you just walk outside and you're sweating, you're dripping, so it's so crucial to keep those liquids up.
Well, you've been out there and you've scored brilliantly over the three figures and you've been in top form. Tell me what it's like then when you walk away and you've got a lunch break and you're going to have something to drink. I'm really keen to know, how do you then be careful about what you eat? You've got to at least go to a petrol station, fill up so that you ride for a while. Have you got regular stuff that you've sorted out beforehand that you need to be able to eat, etc.?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we obviously have the lunch break provided by the cricket club, but you got to watch what you're eating there. Salads and the like that have been washed in water and all that sort of stuff. The usual, Asian countries, you've got to be careful about what you eat. But we're all pretty. There's a lot of protein shakes going around. A few of the boys take the protein shakes and protein bars and that sort of stuff. So yeah, everybody's well versed on it. We've sort of had a little bit of information from a sports nutritionalist about what to eat and when to eat it. And all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, we're on top of that, which is good. And that all matters, all those little 1%ers, that really, really matters. So, it's important. But, yeah, there's nobody sort of, struggling because they haven't done their homework with drink or food or protein or anything like that. So, we're right over it, which is good. So,
yeah.
You've just got to be careful and mindful and sensible.
Understood. Yeah, well answered. Well answered. Now, for you, Tony, I'm interested in when you get yourself organised as a wicketkeeper. Tell me, do you do anything different with the information that is thrown in your direction and what you wear? Like, you wear inners in the gloves, and I'm thinking of all the sweat, and you've got pads there. Wicketkeepers carry around a fair bit of stuff when you get out there, don't you?
Yeah, the first day against New Zealand, when I kept the 45 overs, I had 4 sets of inners and I changed them because we have a drinks break every 11 overs. So I changed those every 11 overs. So I went through 4 sets that day. Yesterday, I only used 2 sets of inners. I went back to the favourites, but it's the first time it's ever happened, was that my actual wicket-keeping gloves, the sweat was coming through the actual gloves on the back of the leather. So it's quite different. But the one thing that we do have here is there's 5 guys that miss out every day, and the group that are off the ground are so diligent in running drinks out every wicket, every break, get looked after, ice, drinks down the back of your tops and everything. So it's a real team effort. And I think Clarkey said on day 1 or 2, he looked around, it was like a stampede of people coming onto the oval. So we're, everyone's really focused on the one goal here, and that's looking after each other and making sure you get the 8 Ws that you need to take away the cup.
And just one more question on bodies, and then we'll get to the cricket. But I'm fascinated about, okay, your eyes are sweating, the ball's coming and whacking into the gloves and sweat splashed all over the place. You've got to wipe your eyes. You've got to be able to see the ball heading in your direction. How do you go about keeping the sweat out of your eyes?
Well, some blokes wear headbands, but I've never worn a helmet, let alone a headband. So, it's just a case, and you're under the lid for 30 plus overs of the game, and that's probably the hardest thing that takes getting used to. So you just got to keep, wet and dry towels come out every few overs, and you've just got to be diligent. There's a couple of times where you feel like you can't see the ball or because of the sweat or whatever, but it's just adapting to the conditions. You can't control anything except what you can control. So we're all out there together for the 45 overs. So we just do what we have to.
All right, and a very quick one for you before we go back to Telf. When you're ready to take place and take part the first ball. Now, when you're out there and the ball's going to be heading in your direction, is there any way that you can describe what the feeling is? It's playing your first test. There's emotion that's pumping through your veins because you've got people that you love and care for that are involved as much as you are. What did the feelings, what did they do for you? How did you cope with what you were about to experience?
Well, the first practice game we had against New Zealand, I was, had a lot of nervous energy. So we batted first and then I kept. So I think I used up a fair bit of energy at that stage. But the second game was a bit more relaxed and got to enjoy it a bit more. And first game, we didn't beat the bat much against New Zealand. It was a really good wicket, and Petrie got a big 100 against us, and he doesn't tend to leave too many balls. The second day, Spider and Dewey and Giddo bowled really well, so you're in the action, and that sort of helps relax when you're taking 2, 3, 4 balls and over. So that helps you get into the game, and then obviously a keeper's got to be talking all the time and be the centre of attention. So it helped build into the game that way.
All right, you sound like a good talker. I'll throw to you, Telf, because Steve's a good talker too. It's good to have the two fellas here having a bit of a rest as they head into another magnificent part of their journey over in Sri Lanka. Telf.
Yeah, look, thanks, Walshy. And Macy, 3 games, 3 wins. Obviously, you spent a lot of time at the crease with the century, and congratulations on, is that century number 6?
Number 6, yes.
Yeah, so my research is correct. Was that one of the toughest one that you've had to I guess work through the entire innings and put up with the conditions and maybe tell the listeners what the wickets are like over there as a batsman from a batsman's point of view?
Sure, yeah. It was a tough gig just with the heat, and the sweat and all that sort of stuff, and had a little bit of a knee issue with my cartilage, so I'm hobbling around a little bit, so I had to get through that. But it was
hey Macy, I call it the Mace Shuffle now.
The Mace Shuffle, yeah. I'm not very good on the dance floor though. But yeah, I got through it, so it's all good. Yeah, the wickets over here, they've been really, really good. They've sort of taken a little bit of turn, but they're not turning square like I guess most people were anticipating. They're coming through. They're predominantly good batting wickets that get a little bit lower in the afternoon, and the outfield is they're just absolutely lightning. They're being rolled, so they mow them with a roller on the back, so they're absolutely rock hard. So you beat the field and you get your 4. So it's not too bad. Yeah, it was tough conditions, but it was a good day out and really well enjoyed. But they're predominantly really good batting wickets, I reckon. Yeah, really good.
Yep, exactly. And the practice game where Petrie had a day out as well. I sort of made an assumption that he might be broken after that because I know Peaches and I know how he pulls up after spending a lot of time at the wicket. I've heard he's got a bit of an Achilles issue now, and I believe he's playing today, but I'm not sure how he's going to pull up for the rest of the tournament. What's the bodies like within the Australian team? Are we carrying any niggling injuries, or are most of the guys going okay? Besides yourself, of course.
Yeah, I think everybody's got a little niggle. Fuzzy pulled up with a little bit of a hamstring strain the other day, but he'll be fine. He'll get through that. He's a tough Italian, so he'll get through. Yeah, but most of the guys are pretty good. There's been definitely no major issues, so that's a really good thing. But everybody's carrying a few little niggles, and a 50-odd-year-old playing cricket in tough conditions. It's you don't pull up as fresh as you used to, but we've been pretty good with the recovery and whatnot. So we're looking after ourselves. So yeah, all good. Yeah, hopefully we can keep it that way because we've got a pretty good squad and lots of depth, which is really important. So if we can keep everyone fit and keep it that way, it's going to be pretty important come the back end of the tournament, I think.
And where are you actually now? Are you at the hotel, or are you out and about somewhere?
Yeah, we're out and about. We've come to a hotel. It's soon to be casino. It's a brand new hotel, only been open a couple of weeks. So yeah, absolutely magnificent place. We just come here for lunch, for a buffet lunch, and it's an incredible place. A couple of magnificent pools up on the top deck. So Yeah, we're having a really good time.
Now, where was it again? Because I might have to check it out while I'm here till the 28th.
It's called the City of Dreams. It's a cinnamon grand or cinnamon red, but it's a magnificent place. There's two big pools that we're going to, and I'd hate to think what you'd pay to stay here for a night.
Well, I'm at the Cinnamon Grand, and I know what I'm paying here a night, so it's probably of a similar amount. But Tony, we talked to Macy about what it's like as a batsman playing on these wickets over here. From a keeper's point of view, have you had to do anything different with technique, and obviously probably spending a lot more time up to the stumps with the 3 or 4 spinners in the team?
Probably nothing different, but I've spoken to Fuzz about this and a few other guys, and the physical effort and the physical work that you have to do is one thing. I actually think it's mentally harder because of the heat and humidity, and you sort of you lose seconds or moments there here and there, and you only have to lose concentration for a second. So I think that the ability to concentrate for that 10 seconds 270 times when the ball's when you're going to be in the game, and switch off in between then. But it's hard. There's always something happening, with the field and with the bowlers. And as you know, being a keeper yourself, Telf, we like to think we're the most important people in the game. So we like to think we're the centre of attention most of the times.
Tony, you're 100% correct there. We are the most important person on the field. We drive the show, even though the captain might think that they can't do it without us. But have you spotted any good keepers from the 3 or 4 teams that you've played so far that are worth giving a bit of a mention?
Well, on day one day 2 against New Zealand, they had their reserve keeper because Mason Robinson, who's their number 1 keeper, who played with the Storm in the 2020 franchise.
Yep.
He turned up late. Day 1, Rory Ingram, who I played a bit against in Melbourne and he got 112 yesterday, not out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Rory, he loves standing up to the stumps, but he then had round 1 off. So we caught up with both of them. The keeper, they had 2 keepers yesterday for South Africa. Big Mario, their skipper, I think didn't like fielding too much, so he thought he'd have a crack the second half of the innings. But yeah, look, it's everyone's the same. It's a tough gig. I know it's really hard in the field, but it's being under the lid is particularly difficult. So
yeah, and I had one game with the Spirit of Cricket team here. Because we played 13 and I batted at 13 and I was exhausted after keeping for 40 overs. And you know what type of athlete I am, and it knocked the stuffing out of me, and probably why I got sick for the next 2 days. But it's an amazing place over here in Sri Lanka. I'm going to ask one last question to you both, then I'll throw to Walshy, and then we might wrap up and let you guys go. The next few games are obviously critical as to where the Aussies are going to end up, and obviously you'll continue to rotate the players. Maybe tell us the path ahead over the next probably 4 or 5 days. What's in place and who you're playing, and if you know where you're playing them, and where you're expecting to sort of finish in the pool that you're in. Macy, do you want to have a crack at that?
Sure, mate. Yeah, so we've got a day off tomorrow. Is a rest day. Then we're going to watch the cricket, the 1-day cricket, the Aussies play.
Yep. We'll catch up with you.
Yeah, that'll be good. Look forward to it.
Hey, a small tip: try not to go through gate 3.
Okay. What happens?
So check. If you get your tickets for gate 3, you'll find out.
Okay. I'll look out for it.
Yeah, you will.
So yeah, day off tomorrow. Then we've got Wales.
And that's a toughie. They are your bogey team. Yeah,
they've beaten us. So yeah, and they've got some good quality players. Bakari, who's quality cricketer, scored 100 against us in overseas in England, in Wales. Anybody can beat anybody if they have a good day out, particularly on those wickets with those outfields. Anybody can knock you off. So we can't be complacent at all. But I think if we beat Wales or we win one of the last three, we've got Wales, West Indies, and Canada to come. So I guess if we win 2 or 3, I mean, we want to win them all, and that's our aim. We don't want to lose the game full stop. So, we've just got to get to the semis, and from there we can win the show. So that's the number one aim. The next game, we win that and get through to the semis, win the semis, and then we're in a final, and who knows where you end up from there. Yeah, so that's the game, mate. We're all pretty positive and pretty focused on what we need to do. So, yeah, we're not taking a backward step. We want to come home with the chocolates, and we think we're doing a good job at the moment, but we just need to keep doing stay focused.
And just a quick one for Tony. Have you had a look at the other group and the teams and where they're positioning? It's pretty interesting what's happening over there.
Yeah, look, you want to concentrate on your own group, but everyone keeps checking the scores, and Sri Lanka are out in front at the moment, and obviously with the home ground advantage and having some test players that are able to come in. England are sitting second, and I know Eccleston made 100 yesterday out of big 100 not out of 190 or something, so they're going to be around the mark. The Kiwis are probably, I think they've dropped a game that they shouldn't have, and that might make it hard for them. So I think if you're picking the top two from the other side, I think Sri Lanka and England. And Sri Lanka, they don't mess around. They have a pretty good net run rate. So I think that's going to be pretty important. I think the way it looks to pan out, they'll finish number one and England number two.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, that game between England and Sri Lanka. I'm definitely going to try and get out and have a look at that game to experience, obviously, I guess the top two teams in that pool, but to maybe even collect some intel on both teams. But it's proving to be quite an exciting World Cup, this one. Anyone can win it, as you did say, and I can't wait to see where we all end up in about a week's time. So good luck to you both, and all to all the guys in the Australian team. Walshy, maybe a couple of questions each, and then we might look to wrap up and let these guys continue their recovery day at a hotel where there's a pool and a bar, because it was an alcohol-free day yesterday.
Oh, okay. Well, that's your story. You stick to it. I'll go with a quick one with Stephen, then follow up with Tony. Stephen, out there in the middle, can you get a feel for what it's like between the two competing sides? Is there any interaction? I know that they're not all speaking the same language, but what I'm saying is it, we talk so much about the spirit of cricket, and we're all, the one definite coming from us all is that it's played the game that we want it to be played. Have you, being out there and getting runs, etc., have you noticed anything at all? Is it a friendship, or how would you describe the feelings between the two competing sides?
Yeah, look, I think it's a good spirit. It's played in good spirit. It's very, very competitive. Nobody's taking a backward step, but there's not a lot of sledging. There's no sledging or anything, but there's definitely that competitive edge. Most of the guys have played cricket at a very high level, so they want to win. That competitive streak just never leaves you. So nobody wants to lose, but it's all very friendly. Is not the right word, but it's played in the right spirit. And after the game, everybody's quite good about it, and we congratulate each other, and wish everybody the best. It's a good feel to it. It really is. But very competitive.
Okay, well answered. The man who scored his 6th century, Stephen Mace, the maestro, getting 108 not out in the victory over Pakistan. Now, to the other extreme, to you, Tony, if I was to ask you one highlight of your first game, doesn't have to be when you were actually taking the ball in your gloves. It doesn't have to be anything at all to do with the game itself. But from your point of view, when you walked away and you sat down in a quiet spot, what went through your mind, knowing now that you'd played for Australia?
No, look, it was a great experience, and you really feel a part of it after your first proper game. Sort of you legitimise yourself, I suppose. And I didn't have much to do with the gloves. There was a catch where Golly didn't even appeal, which would have been the first dismissal. Caught behind, but so that was a bit disappointing. But to be honest, the best feeling I had was when Gids got that short ball and put him straight over fine leg for 4, and we won the game. And because I don't care whether you're 10 or 25 or 50. You play cricket because you love it and you enjoy it, but you also play it to win it. And to come from that position was, it was a really, really, one of the great feelings that I've had on a cricket field or off the cricket field in a game itself. So that was probably the most emotionally upbeat point of yesterday for me. Not nothing personal, but just seeing the team win from such a position. That was a great feeling.
Yeah, well answered, Tony, and well answered, Steve. Back to you, Telf.
Well, I'm going to throw it straight back at you because have you got the run sheet for the wrap on spot on hose and fittings?
The run sheet. I don't
know,
think I've seen a run sheet for about 3 months now. Well, where are they?
From manufacturing
to deliveries, wherever you are in Australia, there's only one name you need to know. Now, I know that because Telfie told me. Spot on hose and fittings, based in Wollongong now with new offices in Newcastle. Spot on is your go-to team for hydraulic hoses, fittings, adapters, valves, connectors, with delivery available Australia-wide. And here's the best part. They've got on-site testing facilities, so you're getting the highest quality every time. For the mining, manufacturing, agricultural, industrial, or construction industries, Spot On is the team to see. Tell Jeff and Chiller, baby. Tellsworth, Telf and I sent you. Get it. Spot On every time.
Does he do any knee cartilages?
Hey, I should share something, but I won't. I'll save that for next week.
Very good.
You, Fellas, and the rest of the team for the remainder of what's been a very exciting time in your lives. Keep going.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Macy, and thanks, Tony, and good luck for the rest of the World Championships. And look, if you've enjoyed tonight's episode with Steve Mason, Tony Kelden, Australian cricketers, over 50s cricketers in Sri Lanka, please like, share and spread the word with all your cricket mates, and let's keep the spirit of cricket alive and thriving. And don't forget, Spot On Hose and Fittings. Have you guys caught up with Chiller yet?
No, I haven't got him yet. No.
No. Well, he won't be umpiring you, but I'm catching up for dinner with him tonight and looking forward to having a few quiet coldies with him. But he is in town, so keep an eye out for the man in lime green. We're going to go again next week, Macy and Tony. I don't know if you two are going to put your hand up or we're going to get Meeky and someone else, but I'm sure Meeky will probably want to have a crack at it and go hard at Walshy. But good luck for the rest of the tournament. And if, as I said, if you've liked tonight, please like and share it. And we'll be back here live from Sri Lanka next week. I'm here till the 28th. Going to follow the boys around for the rest of the World Cup, and hopefully we can help get them across the line and give them the support they need. So thanks for joining us tonight in the clubhouse. Boys, good luck, and we'll catch you all real soon.
Thanks, mate. Goodbye.
Cheers, fellas. See you, Telf.